It was 2:17 in the morning when I got the message. A 54-year-old woman named Diane had been quietly watching my videos for months. That night, she finally wrote, "I've tried cutting calories. I've walked every day for the last 6 weeks, and still, the scale doesn't move. I'm doing everything right. Why do I feel like my body is stuck?" And she's not alone. If you're over 40, maybe 50, maybe 60, you might be feeling the same thing. You're eating less, moving more, maybe even skipping meals, and yet the belly fat won't budge. You're not lazy. You're not weak. What's happening is not your fault. It's your metabolism sending you signals, but no one ever taught you how to read them. Here's the truth. Most people don't realize when their body has quietly switched gears from running on sugar to burning fat. It doesn't come with fireworks or a giant announcement, but it does come with subtle signs. And today I'm going to show you exactly what those signs are, 5 of them, so you can finally stop second-guessing yourself and start feeling confident that your body is changing, even if the scale hasn't caught up yet. So let's dive into sign number 1. And it might just surprise you every time you wake up in the morning. Why your body doesn't flash a fat-burning light, but sends subtle clues. You won't wake up one morning to a bright neon sign blinking, "Congratulations, you're officially burning fat now." I wish it were that simple. But the truth is, your body doesn't make loud announcements. Instead, it whispers. It sends you quiet, consistent clues that something beneath the surface is changing. And if you've been struggling with weight or stubborn belly fat after 40, learning to notice these subtle shifts might be the most powerful thing you can do. Let me tell you about Ron, a 61-year-old retired teacher. He came to me frustrated. After months of counting calories and walking 3 miles a day, his weight wouldn't budge. And he thought maybe this was just old age. But then, something changed. He stopped feeling hungry at night. He didn't crash in the afternoon like he used to, and one morning he noticed a weird, slightly metallic taste in his mouth when he woke up. It didn't feel like much, but it was actually the beginning of something huge. What Ron didn't know was that his body had started shifting from using glucose, sugar, as its main fuel source, to tapping into fat. And no, he wasn't on a strict keto diet. He had simply made a few small changes, cutting late-night snacks, walking after dinner, eating more protein in the morning. His body responded, quietly but powerfully. That's how fat burning starts, not with a bang, but with a whisper. You see, when we're younger, our metabolism is more forgiving. We can run on sugar and recover fast. But as we pass 40, our hormones shift. Insulin sensitivity drops, and the body starts to favor fat storage, especially around the midsection. The good news? It can also become more willing to burn fat again, if we guide it gently. But we have to stop looking for instant proof, the scale, the dramatic before and after photos, and start noticing the smaller signs. Better energy, fewer cravings, steadier moods, even changes in breath or appetite. This shift is what I call metabolic awakening. It's the moment your body begins to trust that it no longer needs to rely solely on sugar for fuel. And once that trust builds, the transformation becomes sustainable. No crash diets, no extremes. Just a healthier, more responsive body that knows how to use its own fat for energy. So if you've been wondering whether your efforts are working, even if the mirror or the scale hasn't changed much yet, I want you to start listening more closely. You might already be on the right track. And that brings us to sign number 1, one of the strangest and earliest signals your body gives when it finally begins to burn fat. Let's talk about what's really behind that odd, metallic breath in the morning. Morning breath and dry mouth, the first weird but powerful clue. Let's talk about one of the oddest but surprisingly reliable signals that your body is burning fat. Morning breath. Not the kind of breath you worry about before brushing your teeth, but a specific, slightly metallic or fruity scent that shows up when you first wake up. It might catch you off guard. It's not from poor hygiene or something you ate the night before. It's actually one of the earliest metabolic clues that your body is shifting from burning sugar to burning fat. And if you've started eating a little cleaner, added more protein, or gone longer overnight without snacking, this could be your first sign that your metabolism is waking up. Here's what's happening. When your body starts to run on fat instead of sugar, your liver produces molecules called ketones. These ketones are like tiny energy packages your cells can use when glucose isn't around. There are 3 main types of ketones, and one of them is called acetone. Unlike the others, acetone doesn't get used for energy. Your body has to get rid of it, and one way it does that is through your breath. That slightly metallic or sweetish morning breath, that's acetone leaving your system. It's like your body saying, "Hey, I burned fat last night." Let me give you an example. A client of mine, Beth, 58, told me one morning she woke up and her husband asked, "Did you have something weird for dinner?" She hadn't, but her breath was noticeably different. At first, she was embarrassed until we realized it was actually great news. Beth had started doing one small thing differently. She stopped eating after 7:30 p.m. No strict diet, no tracking macros, just one habit shift. That night, instead of burning through late-night carbs, her body tapped into fat for fuel. Her breath told the story before the scale ever did. Dry mouth often comes along for the ride too. When your body shifts toward fat burning, insulin levels drop. And when insulin drops, your kidneys release more water and sodium. This is one reason people lose water weight early on. But it also means you might feel thirstier or wake up with a dry tongue. It's not a problem, it's a signal. Just make sure to stay hydrated and include some natural electrolytes, a pinch of sea salt, leafy greens, even a cup of bone broth can help. What I want you to take from this is simple. If your breath smells a little off in the morning, or you wake up with a dry mouth, don't be alarmed. Your body isn't malfunctioning, it's adapting. It's learning how to fuel you more efficiently. And sometimes, the earliest wins aren't visible, they're metabolic. They're quiet signs that your body is changing even before the scale does. Now, let's move to another powerful clue that often surprises people. Especially if you've spent decades thinking you needed to eat every 2 to 3 hours. Let's talk about hunger. Or rather, the absence of it. You're not hungry, and it feels strangely calm. One of the strangest and most empowering signs that your body is burning fat is this. You're not hungry. And not in a forced, white-knuckled kind of way. It just feels calm. Peaceful, even. Imagine looking up from your computer and realizing it's 2:30 p.m. You had breakfast around 8, maybe just some eggs and avocado, and somehow you haven't even thought about food. Your stomach isn't growling, your mood is stable, you feel focused. And here's the kicker, you didn't even plan to skip lunch, you just forgot. For many people over 40, this moment can feel almost surreal. Especially if they've spent decades believing that they needed to eat every 2 or 3 hours to keep their metabolism up. Let's unpack what's really happening. When your body relies on sugar for energy, it burns through it quickly. Your blood sugar spikes after a meal, then drops. And when it drops too fast, your hunger hormones, especially ghrelin, start to scream. That's when you get shaky, irritable, distracted. You grab a snack, repeat the cycle, and before you know it, you're on a blood sugar roller coaster all day long. But when you become metabolically flexible, when your body starts to burn fat and produce ketones, everything changes. Ketones are like a slow-burning, steady fuel source. They don't just power your muscles, they feed your brain. And because your fat stores are vast, your body knows it has plenty of fuel. There's no emergency, so those hunger signals quiet down. I remember working with Tom, a 63-year-old retired firefighter. For years, he was glued to his meal schedule. snack at 10, lunch at 12, something sweet around 3. But after we adjusted his breakfast and encouraged a short evening walk, something shifted. A few weeks in, he told me, "I skipped my morning snack by accident, and I didn't even notice until lunchtime." It wasn't willpower, it was chemistry. His body had flipped the switch. He wasn't starving himself. He was finally tapping into the energy he'd been carrying around his belly for years. Here's the takeaway. True fat burning brings a sense of freedom. You're not constantly thinking about food, you're not battling cravings or crashes, you simply feel okay. And that's a powerful place to be, especially if you've spent most of your adult life stuck in the cycle of restriction and rebound. It's not about eating less, it's about eating in a way that helps your body feel full, balanced, and in control again. Coming up next, let's talk about what happens when this calm energy starts to carry over into your entire day, and why that dreaded afternoon slump might finally be a thing of the past. Say goodbye to the 3 p.m. crash and the mood swings that come with it. You probably know the feeling. It's around 3 p.m. and suddenly your energy drops like a rock. Your eyes get heavy, your brain feels foggy, and you find yourself reaching for caffeine, sugar, or something, anything, to get through the rest of the afternoon. For many people over 40, this daily slump has become so normal that they don't even question it anymore. They just assume it's part of aging. But what if I told you it's not about age, it's about fuel? That crash isn't inevitable. It's a signal from your body that it's relying on a fast-burning, unreliable energy source, sugar. And when your metabolism starts to shift to fat burning, that crash often disappears, quietly, naturally, almost without you noticing. Here's why. Think of glucose like kindling on a fire. It lights fast, burns hot, but fades quickly. You need to keep adding more fuel, more carbs, more sugar, to keep the flame going. Fat, on the other hand, is like a slow-burning log. Once it catches, it gives you steady heat for hours. When your body becomes more metabolically flexible and starts tapping into fat stores for energy, you move away from those dramatic highs and lows. Your blood sugar levels flatten. Cortisol, your stress hormone, stays steadier. And your mitochondria, the energy factories inside your cells, start running more efficiently. The result? Your focus sharpens, your energy lasts. And you no longer feel like you're dragging yourself through the day. I'll never forget Sarah, a 59-year-old librarian who used to dread the afternoon shift. By 2 p.m., she would feel foggy, irritable, and sometimes even emotional. Her solution? A muffin and a large latte. It helped for about 30 minutes until the crash came back even harder. We made 2 simple adjustments. She added healthy fats and protein to her lunch, and she took a short walk outside right after eating. Within a week, the crashes stopped. She was shocked. "I thought it was just my age," she said. "Turns out I just needed better fuel." Here's the insight. Your body wants to give you steady energy. It's designed for it. But if you're only feeding it fast-burning fuel, it will burn out. When you teach your metabolism to access fat, you stop chasing energy and start having it. No more highs and lows, no more sugar roller coaster. Just calm, consistent energy that lasts from lunch to dinner. And here's something even more exciting. Once your energy stabilizes, something else starts to shift. Your cravings. That constant pull towards sweets and refined carbs, it starts to fade. Let's take a look at how that happens. Sugar cravings quiet down, and you start craving real food. Imagine walking past a bakery on your usual afternoon route. The smell of fresh bread and pastries in the air, and for the first time in years, you don't feel that urgent pull to go inside. No inner debate, no maybe just one moment, just nothing. You feel neutral, at peace. That moment is not about willpower. It's about chemistry, and it's one of the clearest signs that your metabolism is shifting toward fat-burning mode. When your body starts using fat for fuel, one of the most noticeable changes is that your cravings, especially for sugar and refined carbs, begin to quiet down. It's not that you suddenly become a different person overnight. It's that your brain no longer feels hijacked by low blood sugar and spiking insulin. Cravings aren't about weakness. They're signals. When your blood sugar drops quickly, your brain interprets it as a crisis and demands fast fuel. usually in the form of sugar. Add to that the way refined carbs light up your brain's dopamine reward centers, and you've got the perfect storm for compulsive snacking. But when your insulin stabilizes and your brain starts running on ketones, those clean-burning energy molecules we talked about earlier, everything changes. Your hunger cues become more accurate, your taste buds recalibrate. You start noticing how overly sweet certain things taste, and how satisfying a piece of grilled salmon or a handful of olives can be. Take Linda, a 64-year-old grandmother of 5. For years, she couldn't get through a day without her treats: a cookie mid-morning, a soda after lunch, and something sweet before bed. She wasn't binging, she just felt like she needed it to function. But after about 3 weeks of stabilizing her meals, adding more protein, spacing out her eating window, and staying hydrated, something shifted. "It's the weirdest thing," she told me. "I walked past the vending machine at work, and for the first time, I didn't even look at it. I wasn't resisting, I just didn't care." That's what metabolic balance feels like. It's not about restriction, it's about freedom from the noise in your head that used to scream, "I need sugar." Here's the lesson. When you support your metabolism and reduce those blood sugar swings, you don't have to fight your cravings. They start to fade on their own, and in their place, you'll find a growing desire for real, nourishing food. Food that sustains you instead of draining you. That's the power of a fat-adapted body. And if you're wondering how to confirm that your body really is burning fat, not just based on how you feel, but with actual data, there's one more sign you should look out for. Let's talk about ketones. You're producing ketones even if you're not on keto. You might think that producing ketones is something only hardcore keto dieters experience. The folks who weigh every gram of fat and avoid even a bite of fruit. But here's the good news. Your body can begin to make ketones long before you hit full ketogenic mode. In fact, you can start producing ketones just by becoming more metabolically flexible. By giving your body longer windows without food, reducing refined carbs, and stabilizing insulin levels. Ketones are not exclusive to strict diets. They're a natural byproduct of fat metabolism. And when you begin to see even a gentle rise in ketone levels, say 0.5 millimoles per liter or higher, it's a strong biological sign that your body is tapping into its fat stores for fuel. Let's take Dan, a 60-year-old former marathon runner who hadn't felt like himself in years. His energy was erratic, he carried stubborn weight around his middle, and his doctor warned him that his fasting insulin was creeping up. Dan didn't want to go full keto, so he made small, practical adjustments. He pushed breakfast later by 90 minutes, cut out nighttime snacks, and shifted his plate to include more healthy fats like avocado, nuts, and olive oil. 2 weeks in, he started tracking his ketones with a small handheld monitor. "I thought I'd see 0, he said. But to his surprise, his morning readings consistently showed 0.6 to 0.8 millimoles per liter, proof that his body was finally burning fat. He wasn't chasing ketones, he was using them. That's an important distinction. Your goal isn't to get the highest ketone number, it's to use ketones efficiently as fuel. High ketone levels without proper use can just mean your body is making them, but not burning them. What matters more is how you feel. Steady energy, fewer cravings, mental clarity, and better sleep. That's what real fat adaptation looks like. If you want to measure it, there are simple tools available, like SciBio's KS1, a continuous ketone monitor that tracks your ketone levels in real time, without finger pricks or urine strips. It pairs with your phone and gives you a window into what's working for your metabolism. You can actually see how your body responds to fasting, meals, and exercise. But even without a device, your body is telling you a story. If you've noticed signs like morning breath, calm hunger, fewer crashes, and quieted cravings, there's a good chance ketones are already at play. They're not just a number. They're a signal that your body is finally unlocking stored energy and using it wisely. Now, before we wrap up, let's talk about something just as important: the common mistakes people make when transitioning into fat-burning mode, and how to avoid them so you don't accidentally derail your progress. Common mistakes people make during this shift, and how to avoid them. As you start shifting into fat-burning mode, your body begins to wake up in ways you might not expect. But this transition, while powerful, isn't always smooth. And over the years, I've seen many people sabotage their own progress, not because they're lazy or undisciplined, but because they unknowingly made a few common mistakes. These aren't dramatic, life-ruining errors. They're subtle things that can quietly stall your momentum. The good news? Every single one of them is fixable. The first big mistake is cutting calories too aggressively. When people hear fat burning, they often think it means they have to eat as little as possible. So they slash their meals, skip breakfast, avoid dinner, and push their bodies into survival mode. But here's the truth. Under-eating can actually slow your metabolism down. It sends a signal that you're in a famine. Your body clings to fat and starts breaking down muscle instead. Remember, fat burning is not about starvation. It's about giving your body the right conditions to access stored energy. Think fuel quality and timing, not just quantity. The second mistake is ignoring electrolytes. When insulin drops, your kidneys start releasing more water and sodium. That's why you may feel dizzy, fatigued, or experience muscle cramps when you first reduce carbs or begin intermittent fasting. I've had clients who gave up after a few days because they thought they were doing something wrong, when really they just needed a pinch of sea salt and more hydration. Don't underestimate the power of mineral balance. Especially after 40, our bodies are more sensitive to imbalances and more grateful when we correct them. Another mistake? Expecting perfection from your body too soon. This journey isn't linear. Some days you'll feel amazing, light, energized, unstoppable. Other days not so much. That's okay. Your metabolism is adjusting, hormones are recalibrating, healing is happening under the surface. One of my clients, James, 67, felt incredible after week 2, but panicked when he had a sluggish day during week 3. He thought he was doing it wrong, but in reality, his body was still learning. Be patient. Fat adaptation takes time, but it lasts. And finally, don't confuse data with progress. Chasing high ketone numbers, obsessively weighing yourself every morning, or panicking if one meal doesn't go perfectly can create unnecessary stress. The real markers of success are in how you feel. Are your cravings down? Is your energy more stable? Are you thinking more clearly? That's what matters. So if you've made 1 or 2 of these mistakes, good. It means you're trying. And now you know how to adjust. Give your body some grace, and it will reward you with resilience. Let's wrap up this journey with a reminder of just how far you've come, and why even the smallest signs of change are worth celebrating. What to expect next, and why you're closer than you think. So, here you are. Maybe you've noticed a few small shifts lately. A little more energy in the afternoon, fewer cravings after dinner, or a strange metallic breath in the morning that caught you off guard. Maybe you've gone longer between meals without even realizing it. These moments might seem minor. They don't feel like transformation. They don't scream fat loss or health breakthrough. But here's the truth. Those subtle changes are some of the most powerful signs that your body is healing, adapting, and becoming metabolically flexible. You're not just dieting anymore. You're changing the way your body fuels itself. And that changes everything. What comes next? More of these small wins, layered on top of each other. You'll begin to feel steadier, less ruled by hunger or energy crashes. You might find that you sleep more deeply, wake up feeling clearer, or notice your clothes fitting differently, even if the scale hasn't moved much. One of my clients, Teresa, 57, shared something that stuck with me. She said, "I don't feel like I'm fighting my body anymore. It's like we're finally on the same team." That's the shift we're looking for. It doesn't always look dramatic, but it feels different. And when you feel different, you act differently. You make better choices, not out of guilt, but out of alignment. It's also normal to hit plateaus or have off days. That doesn't mean you failed. It means your body is recalibrating. Think of it like learning a new language. At first, everything feels clunky and slow. Then, little by little, things begin to flow. The hunger calms, the cravings fade, the energy steadies, and eventually, you don't have to try so hard. It becomes who you are, not a diet, not a challenge, just your new normal. And if you're thinking, but I've only noticed 1 or 2 of these signs, that's enough. You don't need all 5 to prove you're burning fat. Even one sign, if it's real and consistent, is your body telling you, I'm getting there. That's something to celebrate. Because the biggest mistake people make isn't doing it wrong. It's quitting too soon, right before everything clicks. So, keep going. Stay curious. Stay consistent. And most importantly, start trusting the quiet progress your body is making. And if you're now wondering, could something be slowing me down? Like insulin resistance? You're not alone. In the next video, we'll explore exactly how to spot it and what you can do, naturally, to reverse it. Because your story isn't stuck. It's just getting started. So, if any of the most, I read every single one, and it helps others feel less alone on this journey too. Thanks for spending your time with us today. Your health truly is your most valuable investment. If you enjoyed this content, hit that like button, share it with friends or family, and make sure to subscribe. Together, we'll explore more proven strategies to fight obesity, manage weight, and build a stronger, healthier you.